So now I'm ready to place decorative concrete on this driveway. So what I have to do is tell the program where the driveway is. I do that by using the drawing tools and drawing where the driveway is going to be. So I'll go up here to the Define Area tool, and there are other training movies that will explain the other tools in here that I'm not going to show you in this movie. I highly recommend that you watch those because the Define Area tool has a lot of great stuff. But I'm going to go over this real quick. On the polygon tool, that's the tool you use probably 85% of the time. So you can draw freehand like this, you can draw lines, or if you hold down the shift key, you'll get straight lines or 45-degree angles. You can see it snaps because I have the shift key held down. Okay, so let's cancel that out, go back into the drawing tools. And what I want to do is I want to set a point right here to start drawing. So I click with my mouse, and that point is set and anchored. You can see that the line follows my mouse. So I bring my mouse down here to the bottom of the driveway, and I'll click again. Then I'm going to bring it across. I click right here because it's going off the screen here. So because my driveway goes to the edge of the screen, I'm just going to go to the edge of the screen here and click these points, and then pick it back up over here. Now, when you get back to the beginning, you want to close this polygon. There are three ways to do that. One is by double clicking to close it. It will go from that point to this point. The other is to click on that point directly, which will close it. And the other one that I use most of the time is pressing the enter key, because that way you don't miss, you don't draw an extra point. Sometimes if you're double clicking, you triple click and you get an extra point that you don't want. You got to go back and erase it. Not a big deal, but there are three ways to do it. So now I've got this area defined. I'm ready to place some decorative concrete in it. So now we want to find the decorative concrete color and pattern that we want to place on this driveway. To do that, you click on the shortcut here that says Ideal Work Library, and it brings up this menu here. Now, I like to arrange my menus at the top of the screen because usually I'm working down here on the ground, and as you can see, they're kind of in my way. So I'll click on this, bring it up here to the top of the screen, and I'll bring the library up here also. I like to have my libraries going across the screen, but you could set it up any way that you like, because you can click on the corner of the library and shape it however you want, and whenever you close it, it will come back in that shape and in that position. So let's say I want it over here. I'll close it. When I click on Show Library, it comes back up over here out of my way. Now there's a feature here where you can sort through the libraries. Now remember, I'm saying sort. It's not a search feature. It's not an eliminating, I want this plus this plus this, go find it for me. It doesn't work that way. How it does work is, let's say we've got under products here, we want to use stamped concrete. If I click on stamped concrete, my library just changed so that all I'm going to see in this library is stamped concrete. It's eliminated the reactive stain, it's eliminated stencils and stamped walls just to narrow the search down. Then you can narrow it down even more by pattern. So if I go in here to ashlar cut slate, so now all I'm going to see is ashlar cut slate, that's stamped concrete. Now if I want to narrow it down again to a particular color, let's say I'm looking for pewter, I go down here to the P's and I click on pewter. So there are my choices. I've narrowed it down to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 10 images out of about, 2,500. So you can see how you narrow it down. But if you do get a message like this, I click on red, it says this combination is not available. That's because stamped concrete ashlar cut slate does not come in red. There is no red or redwood. So once you've decided on a color you want to try, you just simply click on that color combination, and this one is pewter and gray. I'm going to use, say, pewter and terracotta. So we click on that and it places it in the driveway. Now you can see it doesn't look realistic. It looks like a wall and it's standing up. That's because I did not change the perspective of it. Now to do that, what you do is you see these handles here, these little red circles. When you click on it and drag it so that the line that's moving and following it lines up with the edge of the driveway, and release your mouse, you'll see how now all these stones are going in the direction of that line. So I will do it on the same side of the driveway over here, and now you can see it looks way more realistic. It looks like they're getting smaller, going off into the distance as they should. So now I've got basically my decorative concrete in this house, and pretty much if that's all I was doing, I'd be done already. but we want to do more to teach you more. So let's say you want to try out different pewter combinations. So we'll go here to Show Library, and I'll try out the pewter and charcoal. Now, of course, just because I started with ashlar cut slate doesn't mean I have to only stay within that pattern. It doesn't mean I have to stay within stamped concrete either. You could go back up here and you could change the pattern. Let's pick something a little bit larger here. Now you can see these stones are too large for this perspective. You can always adjust the size of the pattern by going up here to the scale and clicking on the slider. Sliding it to the left makes it smaller, and sliding it to the right makes it larger. So you can adjust the size of that different pattern. If I want to switch to, say, reactive stains, I could go up here and select on that. And again, you get this combination is not found. That's because it doesn't have patterns in reactive stains. If you just click reset, it's probably a faster way to do it. And you could pick a color and place a stain on there. Let's place a couple different products on here, like this exposed aggregate. Pick something that might look good with this house. And again, you would have to adjust the scale when you're switching from different products and patterns, most of the time anyway. And let's try some stencil top, and let's try this one here. You know what, that one doesn't look too bad. We're going to stick with that for the time being, and let's move on to the next step. So let's say you want to extend out this walkway here. We want to bring it out a little bit farther so when a car is parked here, the passengers can get out and they don't have to step into the planters if you had two cars in this driveway. So what we'll do is we'll go back into the drawing tools, and I'm going to draw over this walkway, and I'm going to bring it out to here, because you can draw in anything. It's not just about tracing over something that exists. You can draw anything you want into the image. So now I'm going to go to Idealwork Library, and now I want to find this exact same color and pattern here because I didn't save it as my default. It's a quick and easy way to do that is go up here to grab pattern. When you click on that, your cursor turns into the hand with the pointing finger. I'm going to bring that over the driveway and click on it, and you see it place that pattern into this defined area here. So it's a quick, easy way to find your patterns that you've used in the image. Now I want to adjust the perspective. One thing I didn't mention is the default setting is paving. And what that means is that something that's going to be on the ground, when I click on this right handle, you see that the left handle moves up and down when I'm moving this up and down. When I click on one, the other one moves up and down. The same thing is true with the bottom. So they're attached. I could go and straighten it out this way and line up my perspective. Or I could free the handles by clicking on free. What that does is that makes these handles independent, so I can move this one up and this one does not go with it. That gives you a little bit more freedom to adjust things the way you want. So to match up the perspective of the walkway with the driveway, I'm going to take this perspective handle here and move it over here so that it's lining up with the perspective of the driveway. And as you can see, it's already improved, and maybe we just need to adjust the scale a little bit here. The other thing, keep in mind too, you see where it says scale 0.3, you can adjust or fine tune, I should say, the scale of something. So if I want to make it a little bit smaller, I'd put in a 2 here, so it's 0.2, click apply, and you see that was way too much. Let's go back to 3 here, and let's do a 3.2. Still a little big. So you want to adjust this a little bit more so that the scale looks more in line with the driveway. Or you could have drawn them at the same time, and that would actually, there would be no adjustment of the perspective. It would have been automatically because it is part of the driveway. But I did these as separate units so that you can understand how you can change multiple areas at one time. So let's move on and draw a little bit of a walkway over here on the other side of the driveway. Now to save time, I've already drawn this walkway in. I went around the plant and it's going off into the backyard. So we want to go in and we want to grab the same pattern. So when you use the grab pattern command, we'll grab that. We want to adjust the perspective with free handles. So I'm going to adjust those. a little more difficult because it is off the screen, grabbing these handles, so you press F9 so that you can zoom out and get that handle. And now I want to show you how to create a shadow over this area, because in reality this part of the yard is in a really dark shadow from the house, and so you're seeing the walkway here and it doesn't look as realistic because really that would be in the shadow. And to make shadows real quick and easy, we went to the Define Area tools. I'm going to draw over the walkway area because I want to place a shadow there. I'll click on OK, and now I go up to the shadow command, and it's created that as a shadow. I'm going to pick it up and move it so you can see it. Now that shadow is not dark enough to really relate to what's really going on in the backyard. So what you do is you right click and you go up here to transparency, and we're going to raise this number to like 55. Click OK, and you can see how the shadow got darker. That looks pretty good there. So that's how you do a shadow over a area like this. So now we want to add some grass in here just to kind of brighten up this image, because basically the grass is dead. So we're going to define this area also. To place in grass is just like placing in decorative concrete. You go up to the drawing tools and you'll draw in the area where you want to place in the grass. But I'm going to show you a couple tricks. One of the things that you'll notice is a lot of times if you're drawing one area and there's another area next to it, you have to draw these lines exactly on top of each other. But in this case with grass, I know it's going to be underneath or behind the decorative concrete, so I could just quickly draw over the decorative concrete, and I'm going to place the grass behind the decorative concrete, which I'll show you how to do that here in a second. So now I've defined the area for grass. Now I want to cut out this area here where the tree is, because I'm going to put a new tree in here. So I'll go to the subtraction icon here. I'll click on the circle because I want to use the circle to draw with, and I'll simply draw that in here. And now I want to move some of those points, so I go to the move point icon and bring these down, because there will be no grass right here by the tree. I've basically cut a hole in it, which you'll see here in a second. So we're going to go to the library, and we want to get the secondary library of grass and mulch, and then we're just going to pick one of the grasses here. It pops it in the area, and now adjust a little bit of perspective on it, maybe a little bit more. Scale it down just a wee bit, and now we want to place it in behind the decorative concrete. So we'll click OK, and we go up here to the send back icon, select on it, and you can see now it placed it behind the decorative concrete, and we've got nice straight lines. Now I also noticed that I didn't do a very good job of editing around this tree, so you could fix that. To do that, you have to have the grass area selected. We'll go up here to area, click on edit area, and I want to move points. So I'm going to click on the move point icon, and I want to zoom in by pressing F10. And I will just grab some of these points and bring them in, doing a better job. Of course I did this on purpose to teach you how to edit areas that are already drawn in. Yeah. Okay, that's a little bit better. Bring this guy down a little bit more. So now I'll click OK and zoom out. And now that's a little bit better job. You could go in and tweak it even more, but the point was to show you how you've drawn something. You could go back into a defined area and edit it point by point.